In a time and place when you can work from anywhere.
Two ladies in their mid to late 27s have decided to.
And they're calling it workationing.
How are the Gringas liking the local flavor of Medellín?
It's a little spicy for my taste.
Where's the best brunch?
What the fuck is a tejo?
It's great. You're going to love it.
This is the Workationing Podcast. Girl, did you find your chapstick?
I did.
So we can start?
Triumphant.
So excited. Your lips do look mighty hydrated.
I have won the search for chapstick. It's an integral part of my process. Before I work out, have to have chapstick. Before I sit down and write just a fire blog post, have to have the chapstick.
I hear you.
So
there you go. I'm glad you're feeling ready.
There you go.
Raring to go. Because this is going to be a big one.
It is. And we're going to keep the front part light, but it's going to get real dark, and you should probably hear both sides of our take on Medellín.
Yes, I would agree with that. This is more than one episode. You might want to break it up, but all of this stuff is related.
It is. And for us, the local flavor episodes are the most important. Maybe we need to rename them. It's not very saucy, but for us, local flavor encompasses just our experiences, like local flavor in terms of the food. We're certainly going to talk about the food here, but also, I guess, our take on our experiences in these weird-ass locations.
Yeah, because what we're doing is we're not just vacationing somewhere in the traditional sense in that, like, you know, we're not just there for 1 or 2 weeks. We're going to these places and living and giving ourselves enough time to really just soak up that local flavor, get a real taste for it.
And we're working along the way. So a lot of these experiences have been spread out over the course of a month. Ideally, we actually extended our stay.
We did.
So we're here for 7 weeks.
And I'm glad that we did, because there was a lot going on here. I think as you'll find out near, probably more towards the end of the episode, the reasons why we're pretty eager to book those plane tickets out of here.
Very excited.
Love Medellín.
Love saying goodbye to it, I imagine.
Right.
I'm going to be very excited to leave this place. Very excited. So let's get into it, right? I think we should.
Absolutely. And I think a good place we want to start is just with our favorite topic. Misogyny.
I love this one. Good old-fashioned misogyny.
Yeah. So we kind of did the whole Gringas in a Strange Land episode that was very much about like a deep dive into our experience of just the misogyny of this particular culture.
Yes.
And if you're interested in that, you should go back and check that out.
You should. Gringas in a Strange Land is one of my favorite episodes, actually.
Mine as well. And so, but it's probably going to end up being a big part of this episode as well. It's just kind of woven through the fabric of everything. You just can't really get away from it.
No, it was very much, I guess, the undertone of all of our experiences in Medellín was just this constant undertone of misogyny, right?
Right.
It tainted the way that people treated us, the way that people treated each other, the way that we saw relationships play out.
Yeah.
In various scenarios. It was really interesting to me. I had never experienced anything like it. I thought that I knew what misogyny was like stateside.
Oh, no, what we have here is just laughable.
Oh, haha.
Yeah. NBD.
God. I went to a women's college, and so I thought I knew about misogyny.
Oh, and I love to just suss out the misogyny. Like, I'm just such an SJW in that way. I'm like, oh, does it just sort of, are there slight undertones of misogyny here?
Yes.
Can I intellectualize you right in the face and tell you how there's secretly misogyny here and sound very smart?
Yes.
You know, guess what I'm not going to be doing a whole lot of anymore?
That?
Yeah, because you know what? It's really fucking annoying. And I just don't even think I truly understood what misogyny was.
No, it's laughable to think. I hate to say it's laughable to think, but it is honestly laughable to me to think that I thought that I knew what misogyny was.
Right. Because here's the thing. I'm not even saying that women in the U.S. have it made. We clearly have a ways to go.
Right.
But what I'm not going to do anymore is invest my time in acting like I'm some kind of a victim. Because actually, not just as an American, but I think also among American women, I have a certain amount of privilege.
Yep.
And if I'm going to take all that energy, it's not going to be insulted on my own behalf. I officially have no more time for that.
Me neither.
And I want to take all of that energy and figure out ways to put it towards helping people whose lives are literally just fucking garbage because of misogyny.
Right.
So I think that was a real paradigm shift for me.
Yeah, let's just opt out of that, Gringa.
Yeah, all the way out.
Because I have feasted my eyes on what real misogyny might look like. And I think that this is still misogyny light, to be honest with you. Because we don't go to places where they stone women.
Right. That's a hard limit.
So I think that this is still mild misogyny, and this is why we're putting it in the mild section, the mild episode of Local Flavor. And I think that we've kind of gone into this enough.
Yeah, I think we can keep it moving.
But I think that it's really important that the listeners understand the pervasiveness of misogyny in the culture that we witnessed.
Right. It was mind-blowing and life-changing for me, and I know for Kari as well.
Oh, for me as well, as we'll get into. So, before we get into that, let's get into the killer style that the ladies have.
Oh, they really... Listen, we've talked about this a little bit before, but people at home really don't just walk out of the house looking like trash. Everybody puts themselves all the way together, even just to, like, run down to the store.
The women look fresh to death.
They really do.
Not one hair out of place. Heels. We've talked about this. Very high heels on cobblestone streets. I'm not going to do it. I applaud the women who do. They all got together and decided that they were all going to do it. Kelly and I didn't get the memo. Once we got the memo, we pretended like we didn't receive it. That got lost in my spam folder.
Yeah, new phone, who dis? What memo?
Oh, the style is good. It's kind of 90s, I have to tell you.
It's a little 90s. It's a little, you know what else it is? It's like just, is it smack of Jersey Shore just a little bit?
It does. It does. It's like a slicked back 90s.
But like a hot 90s, like the 90s you miss.
Yes. Oh, the 90s you reminisce about that didn't actually exist? That 90s.
But we saw all these flossy fly clothes and we were like, we're going to need some of this. So we hit up the local mall.
So Kelly and I talked about the Third World Mall that we got our electronics supplies at. We needed some mic cords and we had to go to a very scary mall to get them.
Highly sketch.
This is not the same mall. So what was interesting to me was we got both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah, there are some extraordinarily nice malls there that look very much like you would imagine a mall to look if you were from the United States.
No, not even. Oh, you can't even imagine these dream malls.
They're beautiful.
So we went to a sketchy mall with cubby holes, no stores. You can't really walk around any of these places. They're more like kiosks, and you say what you want, and then somebody opens up a door to Narnia, disappears for 10 to 15 minutes. It's probably 5 to 7 years their time. They come back looking like they've been through some shit.
Yeah.
You know?
They do, because it's weird. It would be one thing if the doors were just on like the back wall of the store.
Right.
But the closets are more like, they look like more of a lean-to situation. You know what I mean? Where it's built out from the wall.
Yes.
So you can see the dimensions of what you expect the closet to be.
It's weird as hell.
But they really do just Lion Witch in the wardrobe you. They just go in there and close the door, which feels awkward because you know they don't even have room to turn around.
Right.
And then they come back like just 10 minutes later with exactly what you wanted.
But with war paint on their faces.
I really feel like when the CIA hears about this,
they're going to want to know.
There's some trans-dimensional thing going on in these malls.
So that's the weird mall that we went to. But then we went to the upscale mall, which was right down the street from our Airbnb.
Yeah, there were actually a couple really nice malls very close to where we were.
So this mall had many floors. It had trees growing out of it.
Yeah, but they were like avatar trees.
Yes.
You know, they were like the first tree to ever grow on planet Earth. And they just built this gorgeous open roof mall just around it.
Yes.
It's like the tree of life.
I've never seen anything like it before. And I'm like, well, this is a mall with multiple floors. But this tree is just, anytime I get lost, I just look for the center. Right. There's going to be a tree there.
It's a giant tree, the biggest tree you've ever seen.
And if I walk toward it, I'm going to find an escalator.
Yes. We did not have the most luck in this mall.
We did not, because all of the clothes look like they're made for little dolls.
Yeah, it's like, this is my Barbie pants.
So I wear a size 6 Banana Republic dress. I love Banana Republic because I can walk into a Banana Republic, grab a size 6 off of the rack, throw it on my body, and I know it's going to fit me. It's just Banana Republic and I have this connection.
That's lovely.
It's deep and long lasting, this connection. So that does not make me a large lady.
No, not at all. And I'm like a plus size lady. So just, fuck that. Like,
so I go to Banana Republic. I wear a size 6. I go to what looks like a Banana Republic in Colombia.
Yeah, very much the same concept.
The ladies are looking at me like,
Hamon.
Right?
This might not be the store for you.
14. Kelly's laughing. I looked at Kelly and I was like, Kelly, here I'm a size fat.
Yeah, I was just like, welcome, Hamon. Welcome to my world.
They might not have my size here. We went to this one boutique store which had some of the coolest stuff I've ever seen. I got the sweetest sweater. It's a sweatshirt. It says on the front in cool lettering, change before you have to. And on each sleeve, it's got a peacock in sequins. And
it's really a thing to behold. It's so pretty.
The sweatshirt itself is a nice Kelly green color. It was made for me.
It really was. It looks fantastic on you.
I was so excited when I found that sweatshirt. So I was like, this is mine. But then I also found a jumpsuit. And I love a good jumpsuit.
You do. And you know what? You were made for a jumpsuit.
I don't know if I was actually made for it, but my personality was. My torso was a little short for a jumpsuit.
Listen, we both know we were both tragically born with the wrong hair color.
I was born with the wrong body style because I belong in that sequin jumpsuit. Tell me I don't.
No, you do. Your soul is a sequin jumpsuit.
You just bury me in that jumpsuit. You buy that jumpsuit for my funeral, open casket if you can, and I don't care what kind of ninja maverick shit you have to pull. Make me look nice in that jumpsuit.
No, if there was like a spell to summon you, I feel like it would involve a jumpsuit. Yes. Some tea.
Oh, I love a good tea.
And like some ranch dressing.
Hidden Valley. It's got to be Hidden Valley.
Hidden Valley Ranch. And there would be light some candles. Yes. And you would just appear.
Play a little NXS.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not all bad. They like a good bodysuit out there.
And if my body looked like their body, I would also like a good bodysuit.
Me too. Very spandexy, tiny little bodysuits.
They're just a little people. They look like little doll clothes to me. I just walked into these stores and was like, hard no on that.
Another mild but interesting flavor about Medellín. You get entertainment at stoplights.
You do. They're all over the place. Some of it's a little weird. Some of it's like, is this a gang of street orphans? Because I think they might be.
We saw some of that. It changes on the daily what the entertainment is, I would say.
So there was a dude who was at the end of our particular block, and it was one of the first things we saw when we first got to Medellín and we were going to look for dinner. And we walked down to the end of this block, and this guy, here's his grift. He takes a rope, and whenever the light turns red, he stretches it across this little one-way street, like right at the corner. And then he tightrope walks and like maybe juggles something.
He has it timed though.
Yeah, no, he has a unicycle. He gets up on this rope and he does that. He does very impressive like Cirque du Soleil shit.
He juggles on the unicycle on the
tightrope that he just strung himself very quick like a bunny in between these two stoplights. And then he knows when it's time and he gets off and has enough time to run between all these cars and get money. And when he does this, most cars open their window and give him money.
Yes.
Dude is probably making a fairly good living.
That's part of the culture, I think, is you pay the street performers when they entertain you at stoplights.
Yeah, you just do. And that guy was the best in the city, though, at least that I saw.
He was the best. There were people who had these sticks, 2 sticks in their hand, and then 1 stick that they would juggle.
I was less impressed with the stick game. I feel like there was like one year in the 90s where everyone got that for Christmas.
That was level 1.
What was it called? Like stick bow? Is that what it was called?
Is that?
I might have just completely made that up.
Okay.
I
didn't
feel like
see
I
those
got that for
commercials.
Christmas, and I like learned how to do that for 2 seconds. I was like, fuck this. I'm not playing with sticks. I'm not a caveman.
Mid-level, I would say, was the Colombian band, the authentic Colombian band.
Yes, also lovely.
That were dressed very authentically.
Oh, what about that guy? We went with our friend Matthew Seth to this Mexican restaurant, and there was this guy singing live.
The Colombian Elvis.
And he was wearing like a full mariachi suit. I have literally never been so turned on. Like, it was crispy. It was like crispy white, right?
Crispy white.
And it had like these like delicate chains up the side, tasteful silver chains and medallions crisscrossing up the side.
Dang.
He had like a really lovely, colorful cummerbund. He looked like a Miami Vice matador. And he had the voice of a fucking angel.
Accurate.
And you and Matthew were both just like, do you need some time alone? And I was like, don't talk right now.
Because I'm not into it. I'm trying to enjoy my dinner. Don't come over here with your loud ass. What is this?
This was not a large restaurant. This dude is just walking around between the table just being like, la! And like, God, it was good.
His crotch was, it wasn't at eye level. It was at table level. I don't know which I would have preferred.
I was very good with the crotch level. Listen, I was very turned on by this whole thing.
Kelly was hoping it was on the menu.
Yeah.
Didn't appear to be.
No.
Oh, another thing that you should know about Medellín. If you have a headache, Kelly was having some back pain because we had this hill that we walked up every single day.
It about killed me every time.
So I went to La Farmacia for, como se dice, ibuprofen?
Right. No idea.
No, the guy knew. There was, at the local pharmacy, the pharmacist spoke English, and that was very convenient. So when I asked for ibuprofen, he hit me back with just, it was unboxed. It was a blister pack of 8.
Yeah.
Very large horse pill.
Very, very large.
It was unlabeled, and I was like, okay, well, he speaks English, and he told me this was ibuprofen, so I'm going to bring this back to Kelly, tell her the story, and let's see if she wants to take it.
It was great. I loved it. Like, it actually did. It actually did more for my back than anything else that I tried while I was there. I'm not convinced it was ibuprofen, because when I took ibuprofen didn't feel that way.
Maybe it was just a lot of it.
I don't know. Like, it didn't feel like a narcotic. I don't know what the fuck that was. It was not Advil. I'll tell you that. It was like, here, just put this avocado-sized pill down your gullet. See how you feel in the morning. And it was crazy, too, because when they actually did have things like Advil and shit. So I don't know why he gave you that weird thing.
No, but remember when we went to you were looking at me like, what the fuck?
No, now that I really think about it, I'm like, what was that?
So remember when we went to the grocery store?
Yeah.
It was last week, and we got that Advil.
Right.
And it was just normal Advil. It didn't have any that didn't have any caffeine in it, right? I asked you, no caffeine in it.
No caffeine. It was like max strength. It was like 400 milligrams. You can't get that here. And it was very large.
Okay, listen, it looked like a Terminator pill. We opened it up, and why was it bronze?
I don't know. They make weird decisions with their pharmaceuticals. They really do.
Okay.
I did find some things out about myself because I'm apparently very willing to just like gamble on an unmarked Colombian
horse pill.
No,
these pills are very, very large. You might need to break them in half.
You know what? It did great things for my back, so I'm not even mad.
Okay, so know that about the pharmaceuticals. Just open up your throat.
Just. I'm not very gaggy, but those were rough.
But the food, despite our taste test of the tripe and blood sausage,
that one didn't go so well.
No, it did not. But the food here is great, and the prices are amazing.
It's absurd. Would you like an $11 surf and turf at the best restaurant in town?
Gringa, would you like a tasty eggs Benny?
I always do.
I know you do. I've got a place for that. That place is Al Alma.
Yes.
It's a local chain. There were like 5 of them. You couldn't find them. There was one right down the street from our Airbnb. It was very convenient.
It was. And what was amazing about Al Alma is that weirdly, Colombia does not really know about brunch.
No, they haven't gotten that memo yet.
But wasn't it some white lady who started this place?
It was, yes.
So,
or maybe it was a local who went to New York City. I think it was a
like
local
that.
who went to New York City. It's a woman-owned business.
Which we loved.
Yes.
But it was like, you basically can find this place because it's the place where just all the gringos are.
Yeah.
It's just all Americans in there getting their brunch. Because honestly, it's hard to find brunch in Medellin. It's very strange.
It is. It's difficult. We had a good eggs Benny at Botanica for the equivalent of $5 USD.
God, it was really good.
That was right down the street from La Ravinia.
But what's weird is even the like Colombian owned places that have brunch, it's still all Americans actually there.
Just
for
look
brunch.
for the top knots and Ray-Bans.
Yeah.
That's where you'll find a good brunch.
That's where you'll find a mimosa. Just
but
look around.
that mimosa was going to have that pink ass wine.
Oh, JP Chenet. It's
You don't want
everywhere
it.
here.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
And like it's like they haven't even heard of another sparkling wine.
No. Avoid the mimosas probably. Ask if it's made with JP Chenet and ask like you're hopeful that it's going to be because then they're going to tell you the truth.
No, because literally just the
It always
worst
is.
gas station hooch from back home is better than JP Chenet. Like,
you know what had a good wine list was a Terrio.
yes, that place is incredible. That was a find from Mauricio.
Mauricio recommended a Terrio.
Doesn't he do the wine list there?
I think he did or does. I don't know.
Something.
He had something to do with it. They all knew him there. Treated me very well because I was with him the first time we went. And then we got that same... I loved it so much that I brought Kelly there. And then we brought our friends there. And then we went there a few more times after that.
So the chef there is one of the best in Medellin.
True story.
And he has just a really insane approach. And half of the shit I tried, there were ingredients that I was like, this sounds terrible. But it always made sense.
That ceviche?
Yes.
Was weird. Very, very oddly presented. We had doubts about it. We put it in our mouths. We loved it. We were like,
incredible.
oh, of course, this is exactly what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, every bite we had there was good. And the other thing that's cool there is that you were kind of way up on the mountain and the view is really great. So if you make a reservation there, make sure that you request to be in the back near the window because that's where you're going to get the best view of the city.
There is a DJ who will spin.
A gringo DJ.
A gringo DJ. Who just looks at you and nods like he knows what you're going to want. And then he gives it to you. And it's amazing.
And then he gives you the remix of Fast Car. And you're just like, I did want that, gringo. Thank you. I
did. Little Tracy Chapman with my dessert.
He was like, wait, ladies, I got you.
Right? Oh, the desserts there. Totally worth saving room for.
Totally. And they're weird.
Weird.
I don't even know what they were. I couldn't identify what they were made out of. They were amazing.
When you go to a Terrio, you're going to get some weird ass shit. Know that, embrace it, and lean into it.
It's a culinary adventure.
It is. It is. Black pepper, more traditional. You know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
The menu is in English and Spanish.
It is. So black pepper is in Envigado.
Yes.
Which is Pablo Escobar's home neighborhood, actually.
Yes. Yes.
So Envigado is just a little bit south of Poblado.
Yep.
It's maybe a 15-minute cab ride from here. I feel like if you could go anywhere in a straight line, you could get there in 5 minutes. It's not that far. It's just the cab ride is weirdly long.
Right. And if you're feeling adventurous, you can walk from Black Pepper right on over to Tejo.
You can.
It's about a 20-minute walk. You're going to need to cross some highways.
Yeah, and we are actually, if you're listening to this now, if it's not up now, it'll be up by the end of the week. We are going to do a whole blog post on our Tejo adventure.
You're going to love it. It was great. You know where we had the best burrata?
I do.
And also sangria was La Bolsa.
The best burrata, which is saying a lot because I will say the burrata in Medellin, they have it basically everywhere, and it is always dope.
You can find consistently both burrata and carpaccio on the menu. And so Kelly and I noticed this trend and we decided to order both at every place we went to.
Absolutely. And it was never a mistake.
Black Pepper had the best carpaccio.
They really did, like those capers.
They were deep fried.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, you want to hit up Black Pepper for the carpaccio for sure. But the best burrata we had in town was at La Bolsa.
True story.
which is right. It's like in El Poblado, right on the main drag on Calle 43.
It's in some sort of shopping center?
Yeah, and it's kind of across the street from, there's the main grocery store, La Carullo.
Yeah, Carulla.
Carulla.
La Carulla. So, Barada there, amazing. Good sangria as well.
Their sangria is to die for, and their cocktails are actually really fantastic.
Oh, one of our favorite places, which is right, it could have been in West Hollywood, actually. It was like a throwback.
It's so fucking hip.
Very cool. The coolest people were there. I can't even remember the name of the place.
No, here's the problem. Okay, so here's the place that we're talking about. It's a Mexican restaurant. It is on Calle 10 in El Poblado, which is, if you're in Medellín, that is like the place. All the best clubs, all the best restaurants are right in that area, and most of the best ones are right on Calle 10. This place is, the door is right to the left of, it's an unmarked door, right to the left of Criminales Taqueria, which is just like you can walk up to this place and just get booze and tacos just right there on the street because, like, God bless this city.
Right.
But right to the left, if you go through this unmarked door, there's a restaurant back there. And that's the place we're talking about. And I thought that it was called something about clandestino. Like
you
clandestine.
were wrong.
I was so wrong because when we put it in our phone and I tried to meet Carrie there later, well, we found out that was a whole other restaurant by that name a few blocks away, which is where we got stuck. If you listen to our Fixers episode, it was a terrible restaurant where we got trapped and Santiago had to come save us because they wouldn't take credit. It was a mess.
So the restaurant that we can't remember the name of, this joint has... It looks like it could be your grandma's couch plastered on the wall, but somehow it works because it's very green. Plants are coming out of the walls. There's rustling in the plants. Is that a rat? Could be a snake. I don't know. Let's not focus on it.
It looks a little bit like it was decorated by Lisa Vanderpump, which is something that I always appreciate.
There's a spiral staircase coming down the middle of it, which I really enjoyed.
Oh, it's a little bit weird because the men's and women's bathroom they're only like kind of trivially separated from each other.
So they're separated by a wall, and then as you're washing your hands, you notice that there's a long rectangular gap in the wall, and there's no window there even. You can just tilt your head down and say, hey, how you doing?
Santiago was over there washing his hands. I was like, hey, brother.
That really creeped me out. I didn't care for that at all.
No, and he was like, hey, girl.
I was like, what am I doing?
No, there's nothing between you. Like, I could have reached out and held his hand.
Like, oh, that would have been so creepy.
It's like, hey there.
Oh my God, if I was washing my hands and all of a sudden some hand came out of the wall and just gently caressed mine, I would gringa down. There would be a gringa down.
But the food was seriously so good. The decor is amazing. The guac was incredible. Those tacos were incredible. And Santiago brought us there, and he just really knows his way around this town.
Yes.
And he looks out for us. We love that gringo.
So we thought we were going there when instead we ended up at this place that looked like it could have been a prom night's nightmare.
Yeah, no, that place was really creepy. It really was decorated like a school dance.
There was a saxophone player, which I know that Kelly wanted to be into, but I couldn't because there was also a camera crew. They were filming some sort of commercial and we were in it.
That's what was so awkward is they're like, okay. So they already knew that we didn't have, though all we had was credit. Well, we had cash, but we didn't have enough cash.
Right.
So we're trying to get out of there. And then all of a sudden there's this camera crew and this dude with a saxophone. And they're very like trying to get the gringas in this commercial, and this saxophone dude comes like right up next to me and like gives me the sexy eye and is like playing the fuck out of this saxophone,
hip thrusting with his
sexual, like Michael Bolton style, just like so good. But I'm also at the same time like trying to be polite and like look engaged while this camera and these lights are just like blaring on my face. But at the same time, I'm also trying to text Santiago and be like, I think I might die here. Can you save us?
Meanwhile, I'm over it and asking if he can play Careless Whisper.
So that video is ruined because I'm just texting through the whole thing and like giving this guy an eye every once in a while. Like, yeah, that's cool. Cool story, bro.
I just want to go. Like, can you please just let me out of here? Yeah. Okay, so this is why we always carry cash. So, as a reminder, and we will continually remind you of this throughout this podcast, I think it's just in general a very good case to stash some cash on you. on your person somewhere.
You should always have a lot of cash. You don't want to flash it around.
Maybe in your bra.
Yeah. No, but you want to have somewhere on your body some get out money just in case. Because here's the thing about Medellín, which I find really interesting, is that they don't really do credit here. Even the cards, like you have to really tell people to run it as credit because they just assume that it's debit. And it seems like credit is kind of an unusual thing.
Well, the way that Santiago tells it is that people can't get credit, so they don't have credit. And so that's an interesting thing. A lot of the people, he told us repeatedly, a lot of the people in this town have nothing, but they still, on paper, have more money than the average American, which I thought was very interesting.
Because they don't have debt. And debt just isn't part of their culture. Kind of like everyone in the U.S. has a credit card. Even if you really don't have any business having a credit card, you probably have two.
True story. You can get delivery in Medellín of everything. What do you want, Gringa?
Everything.
You might want to have a local order it for you.
If you are a gringo, the chances of your order arriving, it's maybe 50-50, and your chances get worse the later it is past 10 p.m.
I was just about to say that. You've got, your likelihood much less the later it gets.
Yeah, that's been our experience. If you order something late at night, if it's ordered by a local, you'll probably get it.
No, if it's ordered by a local, you'll always get it. Mauricio, our fixer, I am so grateful for him because we'll send him Facebook chats and say, here's the place we want to order from. Here's what we want. Can you please call it in?
Yeah.
And he'll
because
call it in.
They won't bring it to us. Also, as hard as it is to just engage in everyday activities with our just very poor Spanish.
Yes.
But we've gotten better. But it's still so much easier for me to figure out what someone's saying face to face. Over the phone, you lose all of those visual cues, and it makes it, I find it makes it much harder for me both to understand and be understood.
Right. Why can you get everything delivered?
Yeah, that's something we've talked about a lot. It's a weird thing. This city...
You can get McDonald's delivered here. When we talk about what you can get delivered here, you can literally get anything you want delivered.
Right. And I think a lot of it, well, we've talked about, it's hard to know for sure. We're not experts on this, but it's probably a carryover from the cartel days. What's really interesting about this city is that we're right down in kind of one of the most happening spots. And this place is quiet by 8:30, 9 p.m. It's not even that loud during the day, but by 8:30, 9 p.m., this place is shut down. And I just think for a lot of years, if you just pop your way over to the Medellín Wikipedia page, for years, there was just literal warfare going on in the streets of this city. And I think that people just are kind of in the habit of going the fuck home. And if you need something, you call for it.
Because you don't want to maybe get caught in the gunfire.
I just think people are more kind of home-based here. You really, honestly, by 8, 9 o'clock, the city is pretty quiet.
Very quiet in El Poblado, that's for sure.
Yeah, we have been consistently struck by how quiet the city is.
You know what isn't quiet? Tejo.
We love tejo.
Tejo is the national sport of Colombia.
I feel like with just a little bit more information, it could be the national sport of the United States. It felt very American to me.
The Midwest wants to culturally appropriate this for shoresies.
Yes. So if you were going to compare tejo to any other sport or activity, it's a lot like cornhole, which as a born and bred Ohioan, I am very familiar with.
Same underhand pitch?
Yes, it's that same kind of concept, except that instead of throwing bean bags at a hole in a board, you are instead throwing these metal discs called tejos.
Yes.
You're throwing them at at packets of gunpowder.
You are. So in the center of this mud pit, which is tilted, it's not quite at 45 degrees.
But it's similar to
30 degrees
like how
maybe?
Yeah, but it's
tilted slightly upward toward you.
Yeah, similar to how a cornhole board is.
Yes, very much so. And so you've got a backstop, and in the middle of this, you have a metal ring. Mm-hmm. And there are 4 triangular packets of gunpowder at the north, south, east, and west point of this metal circular ring in this mud pit. And so from about cornhole throwing distance, You are pitching these tejos at these packets of gunpowder, and if you land in the center without striking any of these packets of gunpowder, which Kelly did.
I did it.
The LeBron James of Tejo over here.
I just killed it.
Oh, God. I was so proud to know you that night.
I was proud. It was my proudest moment, maybe. It's probably all downhill. I should have lit myself on fire.
Just self-immolated.
I'm pretty sure that was it. And the best part of it was just the saltiness of the people around me, because it was my first night playing Tejo, and the people who've like really put in the time, just very bitter.
Well, we've gone back already. I think we're going to go back again because we love it so much.
We do love it.
And Kelly's just now hitting her stride.
Yes.
You know?
So the place where we play Tejo, we're going to put links to it. We're going to put, if it's not up now, it'll be up later.
You can search on Facebook for Medellín Tejo Tour or Tejo Medellín Tour.
Yeah.
And find it. Chris, you'll recognize him by his jersey, which has Gringo on the back of it.
And he is a gringo. And we love Chris. He's great.
He's a professional Tejo player.
He is.
In Colombia.
He's a fun guy to follow on Facebook, too. I love seeing all of his.
He's good with the gifts.
He is great. So Chris, this is a very I liked going with Chris, and it was the perfect moment for us too, was because it is a very gringo event.
If you want to find gringos and you're in Medellín, Colombia, go play Tejo, because the locals don't do it. The locals mostly don't do it because Tejo wasn't created in Antioquia, right?
Right, and they're weirdly like territorial about it.
Very territorial about it. It's why in Medellín, they pronounce it Medellín.
Right.
And if you're not from Medellín, you might pronounce it Medellín.
Right.
And the locals, Medellín.
Yeah.
Gotta get it. Maybe it always helps to get a little angry with it.
You gotta
Puerto Rico.
But it's super fun. It was awesome. We met some really cool people. If you are in Colombia, if you're in Medellín, I'm telling you, I love Medellín. I know I understand the ways in which it's problematic. I love it here. I really, really do. But it is really nice when on the road sometimes to reconnect with some people from home and just talk about some just basic ass American ass shit.
You can find those people at Tejo. You know who else you can find at Tejo? And this is a little spicy. Oh, I'm getting did I get a bite of red pepper?
Yeah.
I think I might have. So at Tejo, we met a local.
Oh, yeah, he was a charmer.
He was terrible at Tejo, but he was very quick to tell us about his bulletproof car.
He sure was.
Right?
And one of our friends got a ride home from him.
Okay, so it was very rainy that night. And when I say rainy, I mean it was a torrential downpour. We were soaked. It was... We spent all this time getting ready. Anyway, long story short, it was rainy as fuck. Just AF out there.
Right.
Just big, fat raindrops.
No, because it is kind of like a rainforest out there.
Just Missy Elliott raindrops.
Yeah.
I can't stand that rain.
What was that?
What
was that video? Was it Get Your Freak On, where they're like in those garbage bags,
Yes.
just like dancing in the rain?
That was us trying to run to Tejo.
Get your freak on. Yeah, that was us.
She had the poncho, and we borrowed it from her and wrapped Kate's very fancy camera in it.
Yeah, because Kate brought her like $5,000 camera on this excursion, and it was just, the rain. God
Check
damn.
the weather. Pro tip. Check the weather beforehand. But so this dude had a bulletproof car, and we were very happy to catch an Uber ride, right? Our friend, we left him. I thought he was okay. Apparently he wasn't, because he ended up catching a ride home with this weirdo in the bulletproof car. And let me tell you, where you don't want to end up, if you can avoid it, travel hack. If you can avoid it, do not, I repeat, do not get into a bulletproof car. Unless you're the president or the fucking Pope, there's no need for your ass to be in a bulletproof car ever, I don't think.
No, in fact, I would say you are less safe in a bulletproof car.
I think probably
in general, unless you're the president, you are less safe in a
Stay
bulletproof car.
out of the bulletproof car. And if a guy tells you he has it, do not be impressed. Be afraid.
Yeah, no, so we ran into that. Well, I ran into that guy a few nights later at Tinto Tintero, which we actually probably should have put on our list of great places.
Uh-huh.
It's a bar. It's kind of divey. It's very Colombian. That's the one place I've been where there just weren't other gringos there. We had an awesome time. And the night that I was there, they were doing... I I went with Matthew Seth, and they were doing a like native Colombian folk music night.
Nice.
Which was actually very happening and hip and amazing.
I tapped out that night. I was very tired and I wanted to go home, so I did.
Yeah, but I ran into our friend and he told me the whole story about going home with that guy, and it did not sound very savory.
No. So again, do not get into a bulletproof car.
No.
No need. No need. So this is a little spicier, right? Just let's tone it down a little bit, but still the spice level is getting elevated. As you might be able to tell, I'm getting more animated. I'm feeling more agitated. I am very excited to get the fuck out of this place.
Yeah, get more turned by the day.
Cannot tell.
You have to do Tejo if you're in Colombia, though. We're going to post a blog post about it. And you absolutely, like, if there's one not missed thing, I think that's the most fun thing we've done.
It is. It's Tejo, and your Instagram is going to be fire.
It really is. And you know what? If you're an American, there is a part of you that will be so deeply satisfied by throwing rocks at explosives. Just trust me.
Your friends are going to be jealous. It's a great story.
And I think, seriously, all we need, I think, give it 20 years, and this is the new cornhole in the U.S. People want this.
Yes. You drink while you do it.
Oh, you absolutely drink while you do it.
It's part of it. So Tejo is wonderful. Elevating the spice. Let's talk about the corner stores, shall we?
Yes.
So, hey, Kelly, I want a pack of cigarettes. Let's say.
Right.
Maybe I want some chiclets. Maybe I want a protein bar.
Yes, Gringa.
Can you run down to the corner store and get me some?
I can't because there aren't those.
Okay.
Which is very upsetting to me. Carrie and I back home are both a big fan of the pharmacy. We both shop almost exclusively at pharmacies. My thinking being, if it's not at a pharmacy, you don't actually need it that badly.
This is 100% true. I take it a step further and say, if you are in a zombie apocalypse situation where you really want to be, is a Rite Aid. Mm-hmm. Not just a Rite Aid, but a Rite Aid in a mall, because you want that
You've got
that metal grate to shut you in. You want the protection of a mall. You're going to see some survivors coming at you. Maybe you might want to let them in. Oops, the zombies got to them. Probably.
That's how you go down. You've got to watch them die at the gate.
You've probably got roof access on a mall Rite Aid, I think.
Probably, but you definitely have. You have antibiotics.
You do.
You have Easy Mac.
Lots.
You have toilet paper.
So much water.
You have bottled water.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to shave your legs during the zombie apocalypse? You don't need to let yourself go just because. I would think that you, in fact, need to step up your game in a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, because you know what? You don't want to be drawing them with your stink.
No, and also maybe you might want to attract the best man in a zombie apocalypse situation because you're looking for a partner to see you through it.
And repopulate.
Right?
And you know how you're going to attract the best man?
Shaved legs.
Neosporin. I got Neosporin and Skittles in here.
Yes. Okay. So there are not any corner stores in Colombia is what we're getting at. Instead, you have these people with backpacks and some sort of vendy setup. What would you call that? I know that you call them hawkers.
You know what it looks like? It's like if you are at a casino and those ladies walk around and they've got like
cigars, cigarettes, drinks.
It's like that.
Yes, but with chiclets.
Yeah.
And they might also have cocaine.
They might.
So these corner store people have these backpacks and they will just leave them there. And they're not worried that anybody's going to take them. Where in a large city, I would always be very worried about, like, if I left my cell phone and then walked around the block, when I came back, what are the odds that it's going to be there? Probably slim to none. But these people just leave their backpacks, and who knows what treasure's in that backpack.
Right. Some of them have a little bit of a grift. There's the guy down at the bottom of our street, like on the right-hand side. Not the lady on the left, but the dude on the right. Because we know.
like the lady on the left.
I like the lady on the left. We'll go to the guy on the right if we have to. But the guy on the right, he keeps all his extra shit, like, back in the bushes. You know, and sometimes you can't find him, but like his shit's out there on the sidewalk, and you're like, hello, and he just like pops up out of the bushes. Like,
I'm here.
Okay, girl.
What you need?
What do you need? I'm gonna judge you while you buy it.
Okay, so I like to call them mobile street retailers. So these people,
yes,
you might be eating. Here's something that I've learned at basically every major city. If you are sitting outside of a restaurant in, let's say, a terrace situation. And your seat is separated by a short wall, maybe with some sort of foliage.
A little shrubbery.
Right, a little shrubbery, right? And then there's the sidewalk.
Right.
Every time that happens in a large city, somebody asks us for either money or food. And every single time, Kelly and I have a strong belief in road karma. Every single time, we either give them money or food.
Yeah.
And that's something that we've just like kind of come to expect. But there are these mobile street retailers that aren't looking for money or food. They're looking to offer you some goods in exchange for money. Mm-hmm. And it might be DVDs.
Yeah.
It might be a hammock.
It could be a hammock.
It could be a hammock. It could be chiclets. More often than not, it's chiclets.
Chiclets seem to be a big one.
Chiclets. So if you want to buy cocaine, hit up the chiclets person.
Yeah. And listen, they won't be subtle about it. They'll let you know if they've got it.
And marijuana.
Our favorite thing is, so Kari and I aren't really cocaine people.
No. Mm-mm.
We wouldn't tell you if we were.
We would not. No, but I will.
But we would just kind of glaze over it and not tell you.
Right.
But we're not, so we're going to say that.
No. I tried cocaine a couple times in college, and I will tell you, I am way too high strung for that shit.
Yeah, it's not really our thing.
Mm-mm. Can you imagine me on cocaine, honestly?
No, I don't even want cocaine Kari. Like,
Cokey Kari?
No, thank you.
I say no thank you to that myself. Right. I know my limits.
No, I don't really enjoy it. So we haven't done that here in Colombia. We're not really interested. But one night we were out in Parque Guerres, which is one of the best places in town to get an incredible meal.
Yep.
You can go to the liquor store. You can get yourself a prostitute. Would you like some cocaine? Like these things are all available. So we were in Parque Guerres with Santiago, who took us to that gringo just stays taking us to fancy dinners. And
he knows what we like.
He does. And I appreciate that about him so much. So we're sitting there on this terrace, like right out in front of this place, looking over the park. And this guy comes up and he's got all these DVDs. And Kari and I, for whatever reason, we've bought almost nothing on this trip.
Really nothing, actually.
Yeah, that was the first thing I bought, really. And this guy had a bunch of bootleg DVDs and we were just like, yes.
We haven't watched a movie in forever. And the idea, so we have Netflix. We have a shit ton of episodes of Vanderpump Rules that we need to catch up on. I believe Katie got married.
Tom and Katie got married. We're on the reunion already. We need to catch up.
So we have a long way to go. We have options, but all of a sudden this dude comes up and is like, would you like this, a copy of this movie that just won an Academy Award? And I'm like, I haven't seen any of the movies that won Academy Awards.
Right. And so we got very excited and we ended up buying 5 DVDs off of this dude. And after he walked away, well, actually not after he walked away, we didn't have the right change. And so he actually just put his wares down right on the street and walked away. And this was a Saturday night at 9 o'clock. Parque was popping off.
Did not ask us to watch his stuff.
No. And we were like, should we watch this? And Santiago just fucking laughed at us and was like, no. He's like, no one's going to touch that dude's shit. And we're like, are you sure? And he was like, yes. He was like, that is one of the biggest coke dealers in the country. And we were like, really? Listen, he'll still make a deal.
He will sell you DVDs, but
he was definitely, we were too dense to realize he was, because we're not coke people. We didn't realize he was trying to sell us coke.
No.
And we didn't want coke. But what we did want was those DVDs.
We were very interested in The Devil's Advocate in particular because Keanu
we didn't know
Reeves.
What it was. All we knew was a movie with Keanu Reeves because these don't have the original covers on them at all because they're all bootlegs, right? And it had this Spanish name on it. I couldn't figure out what it was. It had Keanu Reeves in it. And listen, I am down for any Keanu Reeves movie at any time.
We were like, home. We want home. Keanu Reeves.
We were like,
home.
Keanu, yes, fine. So then we go home and we pop the name of this thing into Google and we're like, what is this? And the name means, I forget the actual, I'd have to pull this thing, but the name means the lawyer of bad.
It's The Devil's Advocate. So we're going to watch that.
It's going to be great. We're going to love it.
I'm so excited. We don't even have a DVD player. I was sure that we did. I thought for shorezies that black box to the left of the TV in my bedroom had to be a DVD player. I was wrong.
No, that was not right. But we did not partake of the cocaine of Colombia, but we did do a deal with the biggest coke dealer in the city.
I think that counts. Bucket list.
Yeah,
right?
For some bootleg DVDs.
Checked it.
Right.
Okay, so one thing that you should really, really remember when you're in Medellín, Colombia, and the locals will be quick to tell you, the cabbies were very quick to tell us, because often we were like, can you run us to an ATM? They are not as conveniently located in Medellín as they are in the U.S.
No, what you really realize, and it's not just in Colombia, but anytime I'm outside of the United States, what I don't realize is how much of the United States is built around this kind of like drive-in / drive-through culture. But like a drive-through ATM is something that is very particular to the United States. Although, you know where else didn't have it very often is where Kari and I met, which was Pittsburgh. But what's interesting about Pittsburgh is that there's all those rivers and bridges and mountains and shit. And so a lot of that city was built before cars, and there's not a lot of ways to restructure it. But anyways, that's how a lot of other countries are. And you don't realize how much you just assume that there's going to be a drive-through option until there's not one.
Or even a walk-up ATM option. There are not many. And when there are walk-up ATM options, you are very conspicuous.
Right. Because it's not just a drive-through culture. It's also a 24/7 culture.
Yes.
You know, like in the U.S., you just kind of assume you can like if you need money, you can get it somewhere. But in Colombia, people think ahead and get their money, and they're not gallivanting around at midnight trying to find a place to get money. Because you know what's a really stupid thing to do in Medellín is to get out a couple $100 in the middle of the night.
Wait, what are we even talking about midnight? Because we have given ourselves basically a 10 p.m. curfew. Tell me, we've been here for what, 3-4 weeks now?
Well, I was just talking in theory. Like at home, I would 100% go to an ATM at midnight.
No, but when's the last time we went to an ATM since we've been here? Past 9.
No, that's probably the latest we've done it. But what you just, well, I guess what I'm saying is you just wouldn't do that here.
No.
There's just no way. You will die.
Well, I think we talked about this in our Fixers episode, but when you do go to an ATM, again, very conspicuous. You are very clearly at an ATM, and maybe there might be some sort of Rocky steps, right? Think of the movie Rocky, where he runs up those steps to the museum in Philadelphia, except for instead of the museum, you've got an ATM, and instead of a bunch of Rocky steps. That is how
most banks are here.
Right?
Just a lot of stairs.
So instead of a lot of stairs, maybe you've got like 10 stairs, Rocky style, that lead up to this well-lit ATM, and you're standing in this glass cage at an ATM, and your Uber's right outside, and the Uber driver was like, Matthew Seth, out of the car, go stand by this Gringa while she takes money out of an ATM. And so I didn't even notice any of this, right? Doing my business, got my money out of the ATM, walked outside of my glass cage, and Matthew Seth was right there. And I was like, that's so nice that you came up and just stood by, thank you, Matthew Seth. And he said, I appreciate it, but the Uber driver told me that I had to.
Oh, he cannot tell a lie.
I was like,
Matthew Seth.
You do not need to tell me that, Matthew Seth. I'm going to get back into this Uber and pretend like you were the chivalrous man that I imagine you to be, and you should be.
You know what? He has been quite chivalrous. He's saved me a couple times, including one time outside of Tinto Tintero.
You almost got your cell phone stolen.
I did. And if Matthew Seth had not been there, if he had not decided to come downstairs and wait for me but that's the other thing.
So you've told me this story. Can you tell this story about how you almost got your cell phone stolen the other night?
Yeah. So this was when Kate, who was just in our last episode, Kate was in town. Kari went home after dinner. She was zonked. But Kate and I went with Matthew Seth to Tinto Tintero, which was that super cool bar where we saw the Colombian folk music.
Mm-hmm.
And we met up with a couple people who we met at Tejo. And it was super fucking fun. But we were, ready to get out of there after a little while and go home and go to bed. And we went downstairs. And at home, this is something that I really wouldn't think twice about. Even in kind of a sketchy neighborhood, honestly. But we went outside and just called up an Uber and we're just waiting. I have the iPhone 6s Plus.
It's a large phone.
It is very large. And in Colombia, it's super large. Like they don't even have that phone down there or something. I don't know, because everyone was just very impressed with this phone that's very run-of-the-mill back in the U.S. And I was sitting there. I'm just sitting there waiting for my Uber. And luckily, after we went down, Matthew Seth came down. We'd already said goodbye to him, hugged him goodbye or whatever. And he came down and was just like, I'm just going to stand out here with you for a minute. I just was feeling weird about you being out here. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so sweet. And then out of nowhere comes this guy who's trying to talk to us and be fucking weird and getting real close. And like, it was pretty obvious this dude was trying to steal my cell phone. And luckily Matthew Seth just like grabs it out of my hand and just sort of like.
Well, he talked to the guy too, right?
No, and he talked to him because Matthew Seth speaks really good Spanish. And apparently with this, I don't know. Listen, it was a really creepy fucking experience. It's hard to explain. But yeah, it was pretty clear that was what was going on. And if Matthew Seth hadn't been there, that's what would have happened.
So the juxtaposition here that I'm going to leave the listeners with on this mild flavor.
Just mild, just a little spice, a little heat.
Get a little spicy.
You
for
feel
the
it
end.
a little bit on the back of your palate.
Like the heat is coming. You can feel it. It's going to hit you. You need to watch yourself at ATMs.
Yeah.
But you always also need to carry cash. And
Yeah,
more
that's
cash
really
than
critical.
more cash than you think that you need. And we learned this in Kate's interview too, because she had to bribe off those officials, and it cost her $200 to do so.
Right, but it's a balancing act. So you need to carry more cash than you need, but you also need to really, really hide the fact that you're carrying that cash.
Maybe don't carry it in your wallet, ladies. Some of us have one boob that's a little bit larger than the other. So how about we even that shit out?
Right, girl? 2 birds, 1 stone.
Boob pocket.
Yeah, boob. Listen, boob money is real. You can also get like travel belts. These
are less sexy.
I have not used it. But you can get belts that will kind of hold it. Like you can strap it. It's almost like a very streamlined fanny pack that one would wear under one's shirt.
Can't wear that under tight fitting shirts.
No, but so just think about it. You want to have more cash on you. Cash that you are not flashing around. Cash that no one knows that you have.
Yep.
Cash that no one can see. So be careful with it, but you do want to have it just in case. Is it in your shoe? Is it in your bra? Whatever, girl. You do you, but make sure you got it.
So I think that this is going to conclude the mild edition.
Just mild.
Of the Medellín local flavor,
Yep.
right? Up next, we've got spicy, and I need to go cleanse my palate.
I need to pee.
I'm gonna eat some bread, maybe.
Yeah, just
drink some milk. Guys, get ready because we're gonna hit you with a spicy meatball.
It's coming.
And
hitting you with the hot takes.
I'm ready to go home. I am ready to go home.
Carrie is ready to go home, and we are going to talk about why.
Yep, let's go.
This has been another episode of the Workationing Podcast. If you like what you heard here, make sure to like, rate, subscribe, and leave us a review on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, or wherever else on the internet you're hearing this.
You can also go to workationing.com. That's workationing.com. Two Gringas in their mid to late 27s have decided to. See, I can't. Two. What is it? When you said that, I put a little Bonnie Tyler on it. I almost peed. Got some Bonnie Tyler.
Oh, it's in there.